I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I'd like to talk about the new year, 2019, and begin by opening with January, because January is such a delightful month. Many things are going to be pouring out with emotion and compassion that sets the stage for this important and transformational year. Before I start, let me remind everyone that I am a Vedic astrologer and I use the sidereal system of astrology, not the Western tropical. So therefore, the signs and placements I refer to are always backwards assigned from the Western tropical placements. So with that, I'd like to talk about where the transit of Jupiter is this year, because we know that Jupiter in Scorpio has really provoked a lot of emotion, intense, passionate emotion. And I consider this a great thing for Jupiter, because when people feel passion, they're more creative, they manifest things, things are more powerfully manifested and created. So during this month of January, we have Mars in the sign of Pisces, while Jupiter throughout this year, between now and primarily November of 2019, Jupiter stays in Scorpio. Now there is a little stint in the end of March, first 3 weeks of April, Jupiter will transit into 0 degrees of Sagittarius, but it will back right up. So Jupiter will stay in Scorpio throughout this whole year of 2019, shifting November of 2019, except for the 3-week little transition into Sagittarius, but it backs right back up into Scorpio. So Jupiter in Scorpio. And for this month of January, Mars is going to be in Pisces. And with that, Mars is in the sign that is ruled by Jupiter, Pisces, because Jupiter, we use the old rulerships. And Jupiter is in Mars sign, which is Scorpio, using the old rulership. So what we call this is a mutual exchange, or parivartana. And with this mutual exchange, this empowers these two planets, intrinsically connects them, because Jupiter is even aspecting Mars by its trinal aspect. So we call this Sambandha, where Sambandha is like a total connection between these two planets. And what a beautiful connection to have, because Mars all by itself is passion, and in the sign of Pisces is compassion, while Jupiter being in Scorpio is an intense emotion. And put together this intense emotion, I feel like this compassion will pour out with the sense of love. And this is exactly what we need for this year, because this year is going to be very, very intense. There's going to be many changes, but I do believe these changes are necessary to create a much better world that is about to evolve out of the happenings for this year of 2019. Now, further on this month of January, we have eclipses. Eclipses are the most significant thing that brings about change. And as I've said many, many times before, eclipses always bring out something that we didn't know about. Something is revealed out of the darkness, because remember, when we have eclipses, we have the darkening of the lights, the sun and the moon. So therefore, these are consciousness. And what evolves out of the darkness is something we didn't know about. Now, these eclipses, we have a solar eclipse, which is a partial solar eclipse on January 5th. And it will be, this eclipse will still be in Capricorn and Cancer. So you're going to have, where you have Ketu in Capricorn and Rahu in Capricorn, K2 is going to be in Cancer. So these are still the signs that they've been in over the course of last year. They're about to shift out. They're right at the point of change, because coming this March, we're going to have Rahu and Ketu shift. Now, the reason why I'm talking about Rahu and Ketu is because where they are where the eclipses fall. So they shift into a new sign in March, and they will be there for approximately a year and a half, 18 months. So from March of 2019 till September of 2020, we will have Rahu in the sign of Gemini and Ketu will be in Sagittarius. So, but before that, this eclipse in January, they are still, the new moon and the full moon are still in Cancer, Capricorn. So with this, you're going to find that this is kind of on the brink of change. You feel the change coming. You know it's coming. But remember, Cancer, Capricorn are about the economy. They are about government. And these are the things that are changing most dramatically. And you'll see a considerable shift by March. And then we have a whole new array of focus, which will be more about belief systems, because Sagittarius is the sign about beliefs. It is about law. It is about religion. And what is about to take place is a transformational change in how people believe. That will take place this year. And I have said so many things are going to come down and change in accordance to people's beliefs around religion. That's going to be a big shift in awareness and consciousness. Now, this will start to occur once we have the nodes, Rahu and Ketu, shift signs this March. But right now, we still have them in the Cancer Capricorn axes. So we've got Rahu in Cancer, Ketu in Capricorn, and this is the final draw of closure with all of the events that are changing worldwide concerning government changes. Now, there's going to be more changes as they evolve into the next sign. But I want everyone to understand there's been evolvements occurring at the core essence, dealing with how leaders, world leaders, rule this world. And what's happening is a dissolving into a whole different way of leadership, and the countries around the world are about to transform and change. So I'm going to talk about that when I talk about the world predictions with countries in another YouTube. But talking about this month with the eclipses, you're going to see whenever we have eclipses, I call this the eclipse season, where 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after an eclipse, the earth goes through radical changes. Therefore, there's more earthquakes, there's more natural disasters. So the month of January, we have this solar eclipse, which is partial, January 5th. Then the lunar eclipse, which is total, will be January 21st, 2 weeks after. And this is still evolving, where this eclipse will be in Cancer. Now remember, this lunar eclipse, that is, Cancer is the sign of emotions. It's a sign of security. It's a sign that deals a lot with the economy. And during the whole time that Rahu and Ketu have been in Cancer, Capricorn, the economy was booming till the end, and that was a year and a half ago. Now we're starting to see the turning downward, whereas once the nodes do go into Gemini and Sagittarius, you will see a big change economically. We're going to talk about that. But for right now, it's still this volatility of up and down till things really take root. Now, I want to talk about these eclipses. This lunar eclipse is very significant, and it's bringing out of the darkness a lot of secrets concerning what? Government, politics, all these things have been incredibly turbulent over the course of these eclipses with Rahu and Ketu. Now, as I was talking, I want you to realize that this month, while Jupiter is in Scorpio and Mars exchanges by being in Pisces, this compassion, what this is all about, what this is bringing up globally, and for you personally, this month is bringing up the need for compassion, the need to feel, to sense things. And my beliefs are, in order to heal any issues from the past, which we're all here to do, it takes a realization of the issues and coming to a point of being responsible of what issues that occurred in the past. But the real healing comes through emotions and love, because that's what we're here to learn. And when I talk about the signs that Mars is in Pisces, Jupiter is in Scorpio, and we look at the eclipse, the lunar eclipse in Cancer, we're bringing up all of the water signs, which deal with sensation, emotion, feeling. And when you look at astrology, when in Vedic astrology, we look at the houses 4, 8, and 12, and we call these the moksha houses, but they are relative to the water signs in astrology, which is the 4th sign's Cancer, the 8th sign is Scorpio, and the 12th sign is Pisces. And what that tells me is these are the moksha houses. Moksha means spiritual liberation from this world. And that is the ultimate attainment of all souls here on earth. Because what is moksha but the elimination of suffering? It is not suffering, it is the elimination of suffering through the elimination of ignorance. And that's what's coming forth for all those evolved souls. Because now, this year, there has never been a more powerful influx of energy coming to heal planet Earth. That is what's evolving this year. It is going to be astronomical. The sense, the feeling. So what this is starting out with this month is the sense of compassion that these water signs, these planets in the water signs are bringing to the forefront. And what it is all about is that we are here to see where our emotional issues have been, dealing with our past to heal it. Because these houses, the 4th house deals with emotions, it deals with security, and the 8th house deals with, again, emotions, death, transformation, and the 12th house deals with endings and the end of all things before we unite with the collective unconsciousness. So these houses, all 3 of these houses, deal with issues. They deal with emotion, they deal with feeling, passion, love. These are all things that we cannot measure in the physical plane. These are all things that are beyond this earthly experience, and that's what those signs and houses pertain to. So the fact that these are the energies that are evolving and servicing right now in the month of January is very significant, that there is a massive healing through understanding, through sympathy and compassion and love to humanity. That's how this year begins, and with the sense of understanding what moksha is all about. Because the houses 4, 8, and 12 are also houses that pertain to the past and pertain to death. The 4th house is the end of life, the 8th house is death, and the 12th house is endings. So all of this evolves with a sense of connecting to a divinity beyond this world this year. So I'd like to get back to what's going to be happening in the world. Because as I was going into this month is very meaningful, because not only do we have Jupiter in Scorpio, but we also have Venus in Scorpio this month. And they will actually conjoin on January 22nd. And on that day, you will find now Jupiter and Venus are not necessarily friendly to each other. They're both the leaders of their camps. They're actually enemies, but they're both benefic. And for both of them to bring out the power of Scorpio, and that they are in the nakshatra called Jyesta. Jyesta is the nakshatra that deals with the most intense power for manifestation. I've said before, this nakshatra is associated oftentimes with black magic and power, but really what it's about is the power to manifest things through the power of passionate emotion. So what you focus in on this year and this month, you are more likely to manifest than any other time because of Jupiter and Venus being in this most powerful nakshatra, Jyesta, of manifestation. It's remarkable, but my hope is, and my wish is that everyone will focus more on spiritual liberation from this world, moksha. So if you are in desire of moksha, remember, bottom line, what this does give is the attainment of no more suffering, and that's what we all want. So focus in that you will connect with your power to create more peace on earth this year, and I guarantee you it will make a difference. So another thing is about this energy that is coming to the earth. It is massive, it is powerful. You will get a sense of it. And everyone, I want you to realize that every single time you think or feel a negative thought, regardless of what it's about, regardless if it's about something in your past, something someone did to you, whether you're a victim, victimization, or problems, you have to stop. Because every single time we think a negative thought or have a negative feeling, it drains all of our energy. And there is no way that you can manifest the goals and aspirations that you desire this year when you're consumed with negative thoughts. And when I say negative thoughts, I want you to realize that means even your opinions, if they are strong opinions that are negative about politics, religion, friends, past, it drains your energy. And this is not what's going to create your reality. So be cautious. Recognize what you're doing. Be more aware. And don't let negative thinking, negative thoughts, feelings, opinions surface through your system, because every time it depletes your energy and your force field to create good in your life. So no more energy drain here. So I want to talk about where we're going with leadership with world leaders, because the eclipses, when they come into Sagittarius, Ketu and Rahu goes into Gemini, recognize that every time this has happened, I've dated back at every 18 and a half years, it's been very difficult for the United States. Because if you look at the birth chart of the United States, and the birth chart that I use for the United States is July 4th, 1776, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And around 6:30 p.m. is the time I use for this chart. What this gathers is that the ascendant is in Sagittarius, around 8 degrees. And you have Mars, Venus, Jupiter, and the Sun all in Gemini in the 7th house. And all of these planets in Gemini are about to be crossed over by not only Rahu when it's in Gemini, but this summer, Mars as well. So we're going to have this incredibly powerful configuration of Mars Rahu and Saturn Ketu. Mars Rahu will be in Gemini and Saturn Ketu will be in Sagittarius. And this does denote some very difficult things about to happen in the United States. Let's date back 18 and a half years ago when Rahu was in Gemini and Ketu was in Sagittarius. That was September 11th, 2001. Let's go back 18 and a half years prior to that. Once again, Rahu in Gemini, Ketu in Sagittarius, because remember, these are where the eclipses are falling. It was the onset around 1982 of the AIDS virus, which killed more people in the world than any other event. Then go back 18 and a half years ago prior to that, around 1962-63, the assassination of President Kennedy. Then going back another 18 and a half years ago from that point, around 1945, the bombing of Hiroshima. All these events involve the United States. So something big is coming 2019 in 2020 while we have Rahu in Gemini and Ketu in Sagittarius. And the summer months I foresee as the most prolific in change, because Mars, when it comes into Gemini, is going to be the most difficult. This time frame will be when Mars will come across with Rahu around June 12th through the 13th. And this is going to be where they will be approximately around 23 degrees of Gemini, and Saturn Ketu will be coming together around 23, 24 degrees of Sagittarius. And this should promote something of a political event, something that will cause great change and difficulty in the United States. I don't suggest traveling during that time period, but if you must, look to see if you have planets in these signs. You'll be fine if you don't. So just be cautious, because so much is about to transpire during that time. So this will involve government world leaders. And as I was talking about, when you get Saturn and Ketu together in the sign of Sagittarius, this is the sign of law and religion. And because all of this is changing, so many things are changing on the front of religion and churches. So much responsibility for the Catholic Church as well as Christian, but all religions are going through a transformation, because what it's teaching us is we cannot put our faith and trust in a leader of either a country, but particularly of a religion, such as a priest, such as a guru, such as any spiritual leader, because they are human and they are so likely to be drawn in by the ego. Here's what this is all teaching us: to start looking within to find our own spirituality by connecting to that divinity within our hearts and our souls, not looking outside of ourselves for that to lead us anymore. Because if you do, you'll always be disappointed. So the fact is that religion and laws are all changing, and I mean laws, because that's Sagittarius, where Saturn and Ketu will be, which dissolves all of the past. Now, so many people will be lost spiritually because they did put all their trust in an outside source to lead them. Many people need to be led. They're too afraid to trust in themselves and that own divinity of connecting to the divine which is within. So this is a turbulent year. And because so many are going to feel like their religion is the only way and they still want to hold on to it, there will be so many events that involve fundamentalist, righteous, fanatics that are taking people lives by terrorism. So much will be happening in the world this year due to terrorism because of the shift and the change in religious beliefs. So, as I said, this month of January, remember there's going to be a lot pertaining to earthquakes. Why? Because Uranus is going to be stationing, and it's going to be around the 6th of January that Uranus stations to go direct. This is the planet of earthquakes. Plus, I noted that Mars will be conjuncting Uranus around February 13th. And this is 2 weeks after these eclipses that we're having in January. So the whole month of January and February will be steeped with major earthquakes and natural disasters. That's what this promotes, and this is what this is definitely going to be about. So coming to the month of March, where we're going to have Jupiter shift into a whole different sign for 3 weeks, it slows down before it stations to go retrograde. And in the end of March and into April, Jupiter will be 29 degrees of Scorpio and 0 degrees of Sagittarius, which is Gandanta. What does Gandanta mean? Literally drowning. And when planets go through these Gandanta degrees, they do equate to major storms, major problems, drownings, and emotional extremes. That's what people are going to be feeling, emotional extremes during this Gandanta phase of Jupiter. Jupiter magnifies things. Things are happening beyond our control. But I will guarantee you this, Jupiter in Scorpio does create more rain, more floods, and therefore more drownings. This is an intense period. But emotionally, the world is becoming unglued, unhinged, and out of control during this time of March and April. So another thing is, once we do have Rahu and Ketu, which Rahu and Ketu are going to switch signs in March, and this will change the economy. So we have seen this, all these threats that everyone says the economy is crashing. Well, it will pretty much go down. I don't think it's going to stay down forever, but it's going to go down. There's going to be crises this year, 2019. Watch how things change around the time of the nodal shift. Now, another thing is, I'm concerned about the health of President Trump. And I'll just give you the rhyme and reason why. Because looking at his personal chart, he has the moon Ketu in Scorpio. And of course, he's got the sun Rahu in Taurus. Remember, I'm talking the sidereal zodiac in his 10th house. But his moon Ketu is in the 4th house. The 4th house rules the heart. And with the advent of transiting Jupiter, transiting over Ketu, which will be during the time of this Gandanta phase of Jupiter, because it will be 28, 29 degrees in March and April and May, I'm seeing that Jupiter on Ketu in the 4th house of the heart can represent heart problems. And my concern is that President Trump does need to take care of his heart and his health. Okay, so this will come and this will pass, and we will see how this transpires. But we can see that this world is in chaos, and for a president and leaders of all countries, this will be one of the most stressful years ahead. So the most intense time during this year will be the month of June. So take care of yourself, be in alignment with your spirit, your soul, your connection to the divine. Have compassion for others. Look to develop and heal the emotional body and the things of the past. So this is a year that I feel like there is so much progress in the way of consciousness and transformation of the old, burnt out ways that no longer work for society or the world. And this transitional period, this year of 2019, will eliminate the issues that have caused so much backlash and delays and setbacks for everyone globally, because this is the year of change. And also remember, Saturn and Pluto are coming together. These two planets coming together are always the breakdown of the old, outworn ways of the past that no longer work. And now we have the transition. But through that, this transition usually comes through destruction. Just as we know the dancing Shiva is the destruction of illusion and the fire, the burning of illusion. And that is what is primarily the outcome of this year. So take it that this year, everything that's happening is happening for a divine reason. And this divine reason promotes growth and consciousness on all levels for all of humanity. And this is what's happening. The change of beliefs, the change of government, the change of heart, the change of spirituality. And my wish is that we promote more the sense of compassion and love to find what is called moksha, which is spiritual liberation from this world. Ultimately, this is what we are all after. And with that, my wish is for humanity to eliminate all suffering, and that is moksha. So with that, I'd like to close. And for those of you that want to learn more about my work, you can always go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. And if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, I have a university, and I have a new start date, which is January 24th in 2019, that you can start to learn Vedic astrology and acquire a certification from me. So with that, Happy New Year, many blessings, and I will see you next time. Thank you.